Hi everyone, we're starting on homework number 22. So there are 21 questions on MyOpenMath, and we're just going over some of these questions. Again, your question will not look like mine. It should give you a new problem. Okay, yeah, you're fine, Christian. Okay, so the amplitude is the A value up in front. Our period is not the B value, but we use 2 pi over B, so I wrote 2 pi over 8 here. My phase shift is C divided by, that's my C value, divided by B. So I wrote 2 pi over 10 divided by 8. If you want, we could simplify this, but let's see if it's going to take it. So let's see if I can check my answer here. No? Is there a way to go ahead and let's hit submit question? And they gave me a wrong answer on the last one. So I wonder if I can change it. Let's rewrite this as 8 pi divided by 8. So we multiply by the reciprocal. So this is the same as 8 pi divided by 10. Oops. 8 pi over 10. Right? Let's check it again. Nope. Okay, let's try again. I think you can submit answers up to 5 times. So let's do 4 pi over 5. 4 pi over 5. Let's try this. Oh gosh, come on. Phase shift is C over B. C over divided by, oh wait. Oh my goodness, I'm so stupid. So let me rewrite this. It's pi divided by 10, and then we're going to divide again by 8 over 1. Okay? When you multiply this by the reciprocal, it's 1 over 8. I kept flipping it around. No, this is not a mechanical keyboard. This is an old keyboard from school that I took. Oh crap, this is being recorded. So it's going to be pi. I'll write this out so you guys can see it. It's pi over 10, and we're going to multiply this by 1 over 8. Okay, and that's the answer. Yeah! Of course they wrote it as a decimal point, but if I write it as a fraction, we're still good. Yeah, my brother has a mechanical keyboard, and when he types, it sounds like it is a crazy frenzy of typing. He types really fast. He types like 100 words per minute or something. Okay, the amplitude here. So these are not hard, right? These are not hard. It's just re-asking you what A, B, C, and D are. Okay. Now the midline here, that is our vertical shift, and that's our D value automatically. Okay. My horizontal shift here is going to be negative B over C. So that's going to be negative 18. Sorry, it's B over C, but this is going to be negative for us. Negative B over C over 6. And then because it's negative, it's going to be shifted to the left. If not, we'll see if this is going to pan out. I might have to switch up that. The period is 2 pi divided by 6. And the amplitude is 8. I want you guys to make sure you guys can all get these answers. I'm going to go submit it and see what it says. It gave me a wrong answer here. It's because that was not a negative. Yes, this will accept fraction or decimal. Now, if you look at this answer here, they wrote 3. 18 divided by 6 is that. Over here, they also wrote decimal, 1.47. I'm going to actually try something. If I write 1.047, I do not want you guys, I'm going to tell you this right now, I do not want pi written out as a decimal. You leave it in pi form, and it still accepted it, okay? All right, let's do the next question here. Again, the first couple of the questions are easy because we're just deciding what is my A, B, C, and D. Okay, and then we can apply those to in the form of period and in the form of phase shift, vertical shift, and amplitude. And this is going to be negative 8. Let's see if it's going to take negative 8 or it's going to take 8. Remember, that's the absolute value. And this is going to be pi over 10, C over B. So C is just pi over 10 over 1. And the phase shift here, whoops, my bad, I wasn't paying attention. It's 2 pi over 1, which is just 2 pi. And the phase shift is pi over 10. Folks, I'm just typing this on a keyboard. I think this is one of the fastest ways to type it. For fractions, just do the slash sign, do that slash symbol, and it'll actually automatically write a division super fast. Okay, they gave us an amplitude is wrong because they want it as 8. Because the absolute value of A is your amplitude.
Mister, I have a question.
Yes, please.
So for the test, for questions like these, we're just
Mhm.
gonna have to um write them out. We're not gonna have to like graph them or anything, or
No,
is there other
this one is straight
questions?
just observation. Tell me what your A, B, C, and D are.
Okay.
And when you guys, if you're not sure, you can hit similar question and get another question like this just to practice. Um, if you make small, tiny mistakes, I will be going through all the questions once again, like I normally do. And in case I see one of those small, tiny mistakes, like you wrote, you really meant to write 8, but you wrote like 7 because you just mistyped on your keyboard. Like, I'm okay with that because stuff like that happens. Okay, I'm already on question 4. And the reason why I'm question 4 is because I'm talking too much. We said the amplitude here is going to be a positive 10 because it's the absolute value of A. You can look at your notes. The period is 2 pi over B, 2 pi over 1, which is just 2 pi. The phase shift is C over B, so it's pi over 4 divided by 1. That's just pi over 4. And that's it. Okay, so this is for you to also check your answers. Again, we're barely on a very fast, just identifying the parts. That's what I want you guys to be able to do. Now, looking at this follow-up question here, um, what is the on the base of the graph above, determine the amplitude, midline, the period of the function. The midline is that d value. Okay, so if you look here, the d value is going to be 4. Well, let's double check. If the bottom is 1 and the top is 7, the middle is 4. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Yeah, that's 4. So my midline is 4. My amplitude is from 4, I go 3 spaces up and 3 spaces down. That looks about right. And the period, if I start from 0, the graph ends all the way at 5 here. So that's not a pi number, that's just reading the graph. If I start at 0 here, and I go up and down, we go back to reset at 5. So I'm just looking straight at the graph and reading that value out. You can simplify, but this will also take it if it's not simplified. And you guys can practice this over and over just to make sure you're okay with your boundaries. It's almost like taking the SAT where you practice test questions so you're kind of okay with what they're okay with. Okay, this one is harder to see. Let me see if I can zoom in. Oh, I could zoom in. That's control plus. And then they want us to write the equation of this. Now, to write the equation is, remember, we have A, B, C, D. They gave us a couple of different letters here instead. A, K, and C, but that's still our same idea. A is in the front, B is next to X, and D is by itself. So let's look at the D value here. The top is 8, the bottom is negative 4. So 8 plus negative 4 would be negative, no, it would be positive 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, just FYI, to find the midpoint of something, you add the two numbers together and you divide by 2. Whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. You add the numbers together and divide by 2. So if I add negative 4 plus 8, negative 4 plus a positive 8 cancel out to become a positive 4. We divide that by 2 is 2. And you can see in the middle, that middle point is going to be 2. From here, we have 2 to 8 is 6 spaces up. And 2 to negative 4, that's 6 spaces down. We know the amplitude is going to be positive 6. This is a sine graph. How long does it take me to finish my graph? Oh my goodness, this is going to be a hard one. We're going to go from, let's do the 2 from right here. From negative 7 all the way to 7. So my period is going to be 10. Now, I'm going to write this here since I have no other place to write right now, actually. If we say P equals 10, all right, well, this equals to 2 pi over B. So this is how we have to spin the problem around to solve for that B value. Again, how did I find 10? I looked at the graph and you pick any point you want. I'm going to pick the center right here on the left at negative 7. And the graph goes down all the way, up all the way, and back to our D value, our 0. And that's 7. So from negative 7 to 7, that's going to be, oh, yeah, wait, whoops. Negative 7 to 7 is actually 14. Oh my gosh, sorry, I wasn't even thinking about that. That was actually positive 14. So to solve for B, we flip it around. B is equal to 2 pi over 14. And that's going to be our B value. B will be, if I spin it around, B equals to 2 pi over 14. And it's a kind of a cool, easy trick there. I'm going to swap the B and the 14. Yeah, thank you, Satara. I miscounted that. It wasn't 10, as I miscounted. Alright, so we can reduce that if we want. So we have a is equal to 6. Sine, we said it was going to be 2 pi divided by 14, we said. And with x, and then we also have a c value here. No, we don't have a c value because we're starting at 0. And we're going to say it's going to be plus 2. So since we are working on the practice version of the test, remember, we can always submit and check if that's the right answer. And in this case, it was the right answer. They wrote pi over 7, which is fine. They reduced it. But again, these are a bit harder. Yes and no. It's because it's no longer necessarily stuck at pi. It's not just always going to be 2 pi. Now let me do that one more time. How did I know the b value was 2 pi over 14, okay, or pi over 7? Let me do that one more time. Look for any point along the graph that you think is going to be easy to count. And we have to get from a starting value. We can be way over here, negative 14. We go up and down, and we're back to start at 0. So from negative 14 to 0, that's 14 spaces. So my period is 14. You can go from any point you want. I could start over here, from down to up and down. That's how I did the negative 7 to 7. And it is a little harder, but I will say but, right? The goal of it is to understand the big idea. And if you understand the big idea, the small parts is just really just working out the algebra, working out the 8th grade math part of it. Again, we can get a similar question if you want to practice that. Hey, Ronnie's here. So this one looks a little tougher again. Let's talk about what my A, B, C, D are. If you guys have a piece of paper, you guys can write down what my A and B, C, and D are, right? Because I'm not writing on my smartboard, I'm just writing on my computer because it's actually easier to type on my computer. Okay, we know for sure the center of the graph is D is negative 1. Everyone call it negative 1. My amplitude is up 1, down 1. Okay, I'll take that. This is we can write cosine or sine graph. Now, here's what I want you guys to realize. If I write it as if this is my 0 and I start up here, that's a cosine graph. I like that. That's a cosine graph. Perfect. If the cosine goes up, 0, down, 0, up. Now, let's see how long it takes me to finish one rotation. Up, 0, down, 0, up. That looks like it's going to end at negative 6. So how long did it take me to start and end my graph? It's going to take me 6 spaces. So I'm going to type that. My B is equal to 6. Those are my notes. My D is equal to negative 1. My A value, it looks like it's going to be positive 1. And my C value, we're going to choose that as 0. Oh, darn it. Oops, I just hit enter. I'm sorry. So I'm going to rewrite my equation. A is 1. Cosine. I'm going to give myself some space so you can see this. Cosine. And the reason why I chose cosine is that the graph is starting at the top at 0 for me, and I don't want to do a phase shift. Our B value is, we said our B value is 6. So let's come up with our equation. I'm going to run out of space. But it's going to be P is equal to 6. No, P is equal to 6. Darn it. My B value is not 6. I'm sorry. We don't know what my B value is. My P value equals to 6. And this equals to 2 pi over B. So remember we said we did that swap flop, right? We're going to flip the B and the 6. We multiply by 6, divide by 6. No, multiply by B, divide by 6. So we have 2 pi over 6, which reduces to pi over 3. I'm going to write that in my equation over here. Pi over 3. And don't forget, do a little arrow key to the right, write X, close it. And then our D value we said was going to be plus, darn it, let me erase all this stuff. Plus D value is negative 1. Minus 1. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a check. That's a win. So you have questions here. First, we start off basic A, B, C, D. Tell me what those are. Tell me what the period would be. Tell me what my my phase shift would be. And then we go back to look at the graph and we write the equations based on the graph that we see. And in this case, the B values might be a little funny, but we can use those to solve for B still. this says, hey, match the graph. Which of these graphs would be a negative cosine? Starting from 0, which one would be a negative cosine? This looks pretty good. From starting from 0, that looks like a negative sine graph. This looks like a cosine graph, but starting at 2. And this is a cosine graph starting at 4. There's only one obvious choice here. Right, so we got that one right. Let me jump ahead. Oh, okay, so now this is the part where we're starting to graph. And I wrote this review/homework starting from easy to harder. We're going to start with sine, cosine, then with a values, then d values, and then adding some c values, and then some b values, and then some c values. So we're working our way up. How did I get 1? I'm sorry. Let's go back and take a look at that. The way I got this graph here is the cosine graph starts at the tips. Either it's going to start on the top or on the bottom. And since that's a -4, I'm going to start at the bottom here. Sorry, Marco, was this the graph that you were talking about, this problem? Oh, the one previous to this. We're talking about this one, Marco. If they're talking about the one here, the amplitude is the graph goes 1 up and 1 down from the d value. It's -1 because the d value is -1. The center of the graph is dropped by 1. Okay. Sorry, I missed that question. I wasn't quite sure when that came out. 36.
So, Mr. Ko, how many questions are we gonna have in our test?
The test will be about it's usually about 16. But remember, a lot of these questions at the beginning are like 10-second questions.
Okay.
So it might be it might be a little bit less than that. It just depends on the timing of it. So if I feel that this is taking too long to graph, maybe I'll reduce the number of questions. Okay.
Wait, can you see the amount of time we spend practicing on like the problems?
Yes, actually,
during,
it will give me an average of how much you guys are spending on each question.
Okay, and like, what type of questions are you gonna put? Because right now, like the first questions that you have put are easy. Are you gonna put some problems
well,
like that too? Or are you gonna focus?
Yeah, we're building upward.
Okay.
So that's why you want to do all 21 questions here.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure like we're really good at A, B, C's, and D's now. And then we're really good at graphing basic sine graphs. And we're really good. And you can, once you solve each of these questions, remember you can always click get similar. Now, if you look at this problem here, my A is -5. And my B is 1/3, no C, no D. So to practice graphing these types of questions, that's why I'm giving you guys this platform to work with right now. So we said we graph D, D is 0. Hey, Faith is here. D is 0. And then the problem is, here is the problem with this software. If you mess up, you cannot change it anymore, from my understanding. Oh, can I change it? I could change it. See, I could change it and grab it. I thought I couldn't change it. And grab it. But if you mess up like this, you have to hit clear all and reset it. So I'm going to pick, and then they give you the 2 different ways you can graph. You can graph either from the tips or from the center. I'm going to graph, this graph is a cosine graph. I'm going to graph from the tips. So cosine of 0, we're going to say first dot is going to be up 5, -5. -5 is going to be on the bottom. And bring the graph up. Now, what is my period? If we said the B value is 1/3, what is my period? Let's go ahead and see if we can write the math someplace. Oh, I can't, I'm no place to write the math. But if you guys have a piece of paper, you can write 2 pi over 1/3 is equal to, that's my P value. Okay, so 2 pi over 1/3. When you divide fractions, we don't like dividing fractions, so it's 2 pi times 3, which is 6 pi. That means I have to finish the graph by 6 pi. We'll grab the graph. I'm going to grab the graph, I'm going to move it. Oh, darn it. Sorry. -pi, 5 to 5, and I'm going to make this graph start and finish one rotation by 6 pi. If you notice, I start at -5, I go all the way up, and all the way down, and we stop by 6 pi. No worries, Faith. Now you really have to practice this. and mess around with it till you're familiar with it. Just like any new game system that you're playing, you gotta get used to it before you get good at it, so you're not frustrated by the newness of it, and you can play the game and experience it. I would say the same thing here. We have to make sure we're not frustrated by the platform because we've experienced the platform, so I can know what you know, how much you know, and we're not talking about the platform as the problem anymore. And this is right, I think. Yeah, I see a little check mark. And you can double check. Now again, if you want to do a similar question, let's get a similar question. Let's do this again. 5 cosine 1/3, right? So now it's a positive 5 up here. And our b value is exactly the same as we said before. It's going to be 6. So I'm going to end up stopping my graph at 6 pi. So amplitude is up 5, down 5. Now, on your work, I'm going to have to tell you this again. You're going to have to write A is equal to, B is equal to. That's how you're going to get credit for this. If I don't get it from your work, I think you're just using a graphing calculator. Okay, so write down A, write down B. And then I'll see that, hey, that's your work. You know what you're looking for. The period is 6 pi. Okay? Get a similar one. Right? If you're not sure, just do this again. Cosine is tip to tip. Okay? And the amplitude is 4, so I'm going to positive 4. I'm going to start on top. Now, how wide or how narrow is this graph? So if my b value is 1/2, 2 pi over 1/2. Write that down. You have to write it down. We've done it a bunch of times already. When we divide fractions, we'll multiply by the reciprocal. So 1/2 becomes 2 over 1. 2 pi times 2 is 4 pi. So I need to make sure the graph stops. The graph stops at 4 pi. And take a look. Start at 0, stop at 4 pi. And this is so much easier when I was trying to do this on my iPad. It was terrible. Like, at least this one. Oops, darn it. Can't delete it. When I was doing this on my iPad, it was killing me. Because you can't move it around. See how I'm just moving my mouse around and it fluidly moves it around. But the iPad, you cannot do that. It was kind of annoying. Can I move this? Oh, I can move it. Yep. I couldn't do that on my iPad. Okay, let's see. Alright, guys. I'm gonna stop here. Okay, here we go. For those of you guys who are still here, thanks for hanging out. Let's go to the next question. Now we're on question number 13 now out of 21, which isn't bad. Now our A, B, C, and D. The A value in front is going to be a 1. Our B value is going to be a 1. Our C value is going to be 0, and our D value is going to be 2. So we have the characteristics. Remember on the test, I want you guys to write those down. A, B, C, and D. You have to write those out. You have to write down the period. P is equal to 2 pi over B. The B value here we said was invisible 1. So we know the period for sure is going to be 2 pi. And we know the C value is 0. So let's go and start graphing this. Since it's a sine, I'm going to use the second box here. And we're going to start at 0 because there's no horizontal shift. And we're going to go ahead and drag this out. We want the amplitude to be 2. Nope, to be 1, I'm sorry. Oh darn, my mistake already. The D value is 2, so we're starting up here, I'm sorry. And the amplitude is 1. And we want to stop the graph at exactly pi. So I want this graph to stop, sorry, not pi, 2 pi. So you look at the graph. The reason why I clicked here, see, so I'm moving the graph left and right till it stops where I want it to stop. And we said the graph is going to stop at 2 pi. Let's double check it. We start at D is 2. My C value is 0. That's where we're starting here. My B value is 2 whole pi later to the right. See, that's 2 pi. And then my A value is up 1, down 1. Okay, sine of 2 pi minus 1. All right, let's take a look at the sine graph. Minus 1, we're down here. And we have amplitude of 2. So negative 1 plus 2 is up 1. And you can see that's 1 and then 2. And what's the period? We said the B value is 1 here. Take a look at the B value is 1. So period is 2 pi. So we just need to finish by 2 pi. And you want to be careful. We want to start at negative 1 and we want to end back at negative 1 to finish one full 2 pi circle. Oh, this is 2.5. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's a sine. Now we look at the 4 as my period. That means I'm going to see this graph 4 times during 2 pi. Or we say 2 pi over 4. We reduce that. 2 pi over 4 is 1 half. 2 pi over 4, yeah, is 1 half. 2 divided by 4 is 1 over 2. So we need to start and stop our graph by pi over 2. Since it's a sine graph, I'm going to choose the second box here. And we're going to make sure our graph stops by pi over 2. Now, where's pi over 2? You can see pi over 2 right here. So we want to make sure our graph stops by pi over 2. And this is a sine graph. And it's going to be a positive sine graph going up to 2.5 up here. And we're going to stop by pi over 2. Let's double check this. 0, up, 0, down, 0. We stopped at pi over 2. That's one full graph right here. The amplitude is 2.5 up and 2.5 down. There is no d value. There is no c value. That's why we're starting at 0. Again, on the work, you have to write down your A, B, C, and D. Let's get to some harder questions. Come on. We're on 16 already. So this one looks a little terrible here. It says pi over 4. Now, on your paper, you can write 2 pi over pi over 4. 2 pi over pi over 4. And when you write that, you want to multiply by the reciprocal. So it'll be 2 pi times 4 over pi. And the pi's are going to divide out, leaving you 2 over 2, no, 4 times 2 times 4. That'll be 8. My period is going to be 8. Dang. So I see 8 here. We have a d value of 1, and there's a sine graph. That's a sine graph. Our d, oh, darn it, I think that's a little off. Okay, that's our sine graph. We're going to go up 2 spaces. 2 becomes 3. And we want to make sure we stop by 8. So we're going to stop at 8. So we'll go 0, up, 0, down, 0, stop by 8. Our amplitude is plus 2, minus 2, and our d value is 1. Yeah. And again, if you want, you hit similar question and try this problem again. Okay, I'm going to jump. We've done this a couple times already. Let's go ahead and talk about our phase shift. Oh no, phase shift. Great. So we have a c value here. This is, although it says negative, remember it's the form is bx minus c. So we're going to take this pi over 4 divided by 1. So we're going to start over here at pi over 4, positive pi over 4. Sine graph, so someplace in the front, and d value is 2. So here's my d. My c value is pi over 4, so c over b, so my phase shift to the front. And we're going to say the amplitude is up 2, down 2, and we want to end 2 pi away. Now, the thing is, for this graph, there is no 2 pi, right? This is too far. It's too far. So I'm going to say, what is half of 2 pi? Well, that's just pi. So we're going to end at one loop right here. And how do I know this? Is because if I finish half my graph going one way, I can finish the rest. Now, if you look from back here, think of 3 pi over 2, all the way over here to 5 pi over 2. If we subtract that, that would give us our 2 pi. And now again, this is a harder question. You might want to do a couple of these. Oh, I got it wrong. Whoops. Let's see, why did I get it wrong? Oh, well, let me see the answer. Oh, this one, I have to try it again. Okay, let's try again. We're looking at clear all. Let's do this again. We said our phase shift is going to be positive pi over 4. And this is a positive sine graph. Sine graph at pi over plus 2. Sine graph going up. We said it's going to take us 2 pi to finish. So I'm going to make this graph go out to right here. Pi over 4. Yeah, that seems like it should be right. Going back. Negative pi 8 over 4. Yeah, that seems right. Amplitude is plus 2, 1, 2. Down 1, 2. Yeah, that looks right. Try this again. Alright, we got it this time. I'm not sure why I got it wrong. That was pretty darn close. Okay, let's just do one more problem. I'm going to jump to something a little more flashy. Come on. Oh, it's not that flashy. Alright, so we covered all these types of problems already. If you can do all these, you are a master, a Jedi, master of graphing sine and cosine graphs, both sides of the force. And if you guys can do this, you guys are going to be in great shape for the test coming up. Okay?
Alrighty, Mr. Code. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, guys.